Level 1. The single-shot break action. The single-shot break action is the simplest firearm mechanism that exists. One barrel, one shell, one shot. To reload, the shooter presses a lever on the top strap, the metal bar connecting the barrels to the receiver, and the barrel tilts downward on a hinge, exposing the breech. The spent shell is removed, a new shell is inserted, the barrel is closed, the hammer is cocked, and the firearm is ready to fire again. The entire sequence has no moving parts except the barrel hinge, the lever, and the hammer. There is nothing to jam, nothing to cycle incorrectly, and nothing to malfunction in any weather condition or level of maintenance. The single-shot break action is available in every gauge from .410 bore, the smallest commercially produced shotgun gauge, producing minimal recoil and limited pattern density, to 12 gauge and beyond. The .410 bore single shot is the standard first shotgun for young shooters and new shooters specifically because its recoil is manageable for any body size and its mechanical operation requires only the motor skills needed to press a lever, insert a shell, and close the barrel. A child of 8 can operate it safely with proper supervision. An adult who has never fired a firearm can be trained to use it safely in under 30 minutes. The price point of the single-shot break action reflects its simplicity. A new H&R partner single shot in 12 gauge retails for under $200. A Youth .410 bore single shot from a major manufacturer can be found for under $150. No other firearm platform of comparable quality is available at this price point, which is the specific reason that the single-shot break action remains the entry point for millions of first-time gun owners who want a functional, safe, and mechanically reliable firearm at minimum cost. The single-shot simplicity also makes it the correct training platform before advancing to more complex actions. A shooter who understands the break action mechanism, the safe handling of an exposed breech, and the importance of verifying the chamber is empty before closing. The action has built the foundational habits that carry forward to every subsequent level. The single-shot break action's limitation is identical to its name: one shot. The hunter who misses a crossing dove with a single-shot break action watches the target fly away with no opportunity for a follow-up. The home defender who fires and misses in a high-stress encounter must reload before firing again. These limitations are the direct cost of the mechanism's simplicity. And they are limitations that every level above Level 1 exists to address. Level 2. The double barrel. The double barrel introduces the second shot. Two barrels mounted parallel, either side by side in the configuration that dominated sporting shotguns for the first century of their production, or over and under in the configuration that has dominated competitive clay target shooting since the mid-20th century. Mean that the shooter has two shots available before the break action must be opened and reloaded. One additional shot, the mechanical change required to achieve it, a second barrel, a second chamber, a second firing pin, is minimal. The improvement in practical capability is significant. The double barrel also introduces the first mechanical decision in shotgun use: which barrel to fire first. In a traditional side-by-side or over-under, each barrel has its own trigger or shares a single trigger that fires the barrels in a fixed sequence. More importantly, each barrel has its own choke, the constriction at the muzzle that controls how the shot pattern spreads over distance. A double barrel with one improved cylinder choke and one modified choke allows the shooter to fire the open choke first at a closer, faster target and the tighter choke second at a target that has increased its distance. This choke selection capability, unavailable in a single shot, introduces the concept of tailoring the shotgun's ballistic output to the specific target presentation, a concept that governs every level above Level 2. The over-under configuration that defines Level 2 competition shooting is the standard platform for skeet, trap, and sporting clays worldwide. The over-under single sighting plane, the top barrel provides a consistent sight picture regardless of which barrel is selected, produces the most accurate clay target shooting of any shotgun configuration, which is why virtually every serious clay target competitor uses an over-under rather than a side-by-side or pump action. Browning, Beretta, Krieghoff, and Perazzi produce over-under shotguns across a price range from $700 to over $100,000 for fully custom engraved competition pieces. Level 3. The pump action. The pump action shotgun is the most common type of shotgun in the United States and is also very popular worldwide. The pump action uses a tubular magazine under the barrel that holds multiple shells, typically 4 shells in a standard configuration, more in extended magazine configurations, and a sliding fore-end grip that the shooter pulls rearward and pushes forward to cycle the action. Pulling the fore-end rearward opens the bolt, extracts and ejects the spent shell, and compresses the recoil spring. Pushing it forward chambers a fresh shell from the magazine and closes the bolt. The entire cycle takes less than a second with practiced technique. Subscribe to Guns Lab and hit the like button. Every major firearm platform, caliber, and mechanism gets this same treatment. The pump action's defining advantage over the break action levels is capacity and speed. A standard pump action with a 4-shell magazine gives the shooter 5 shots, 4 in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber, before reloading is required, compared to the double barrels 2 and the single shots 1. The time between shots is limited only by how quickly the shooter can work the fore-end, which with practice becomes a nearly unconscious motion that does not interrupt the shooting rhythm. The first commercially successful pump shotgun was the Winchester Model 1893, designed by John Moses Browning, the same engineer who designed the 1911 pistol, the Browning automatic rifle, and the M2.50 caliber machine gun. Browning's pump action design established the mechanical template that all subsequent pump shotguns have followed. The pump action is commonly described as beginners-friendly, reliable, and more importantly fun to shoot for all skill levels. Its mechanical reliability is the specific property that has made it the dominant home defense shotgun in America for over a century. The pump action will cycle any shell that fits the chamber, light target loads, heavy hunting loads, buckshot slugs, without adjustment or modification, because the shooter provides the cycling energy rather than the shell's powder charge. A pump action that has been submerged in water, packed with mud, and left uncleaned for months will cycle when needed in a way that a semi-automatic with fouled gas ports may not. Level 4. The standard semi-automatic. The semi-automatic shotgun uses the energy of the fired shell, either expanding gas tapped from the barrel or the recoil impulse of the fired shell, to cycle the action automatically after each shot, chambering the next shell without any input from the shooter beyond pulling the trigger. The shooter fires, the action cycles, and the firearm is ready to fire again. The trigger is the only manual input required between shots. The gas-operated versus inertia-operated distinction is the most technically significant choice within the semi-automatic category. Gas-operated semi-automatics tap propellant gas from the barrel through a port and use that gas pressure to drive a piston rearward, which cycles the action. Inertia-operated semi-automatics use the recoil impulse of the fired shell, the rearward movement of the entire firearm, to compress a spring in the bolt that then drives the action rearward and forward to cycle. Gas systems are generally more tolerant of light loads and can be self-regulating across a wider pressure range. Inertia systems have fewer moving parts, require less cleaning, and are lighter, but require a firm shoulder mount to generate the recoil impulse that drives the cycling. The semi-automatic's primary advantage over the pump is speed and recoil reduction. A trained shooter can fire a semi-automatic faster than any pump action because eliminating the fore-end cycling stroke removes both the physical time required to work the pump and the movement disruption that pumping the action introduces into the shooter's body position. The gas-operated semi-automatic specifically reduces felt recoil compared to an equivalent pump or over-under because the gas system absorbs a portion of the recoil energy before it reaches the shooter's shoulder. A meaningful advantage for a shooter firing many shells over a long day of hunting or a competitive shooting match. The semi-automatic's historical limitation was reliability with a wide range of shell pressures. A gas-operated semi-auto calibrated for standard 12-gauge loads may not cycle reliably with light target loads or heavy magnum loads outside its operating pressure range. Modern gas system engineering, particularly the self-regulating gas systems on the Beretta A400 series and the Browning Maxus, has addressed this limitation significantly, but the pump action remains the reliability benchmark against which all semi-automatics are measured. In 2026, the Mossberg 940 Pro represents the best value semi-automatic in the market, a lightning-fast, ultra-reliable gas system at a price point significantly below European competition alternatives. Level 5. The tactical pump. The tactical pump action takes the mechanical foundation of Level 3 and applies a specific configuration philosophy. Shorter barrel, extended magazine, adjustable stock, accessory mounting capability that optimizes the platform for defensive and duty use rather than hunting or clay target applications. The tactical configuration does not change the pump action's fundamental mechanism. It changes what the pump action is optimized to do. The legal minimum barrel length for a shotgun in the United States is 18 inches under federal law, with an overall length minimum of 26 inches. A shotgun with a barrel shorter than 18 inches or an overall length shorter than 26 inches is classified as a short-barreled shotgun under the National Firearms Act and requires a $200 tax stamp and ATF approval before transfer or manufacture. This NFA classification is the specific regulatory boundary that tactical configurations at Level 5 navigate. The 18-inch barrel is the minimum legal length without NFA paperwork, and most tactical pump configurations use 18 to 20-inch barrels to stay above this threshold while achieving the maneuvering advantages of the shorter format. The shortened barrel, typically 18 to 20 inches versus the 26 to 28-inch barrels standard in hunting configurations, reduces the firearm's overall length and improves maneuverability in confined spaces like hallways, doorways, and vehicle interiors where a full-length shotgun barrel becomes a handling liability. The magazine extension tube that replaces the standard plug-limited tube increases capacity from 4 shells to 6, 7, or more. The pistol grip stock or adjustable length of pull stock accommodates a wider range of shooter sizes and shooting positions than a fixed traditional stock. The Mossberg 590A1 is the specific pump action that defines this level, the military-grade version of the Mossberg 590 series that has served with the United States military and law enforcement since the 1980s and that remains in active procurement as of 2026. The 590A1's heavy barrel, ghost ring sights, and aluminum trigger guard are the specific design differences from the standard 590 that address the durability requirements of military service. The Remington 870, refreshed in 2025 and 2026 with new production under new ownership, remains the most produced shotgun in history and the alternative tactical pump action that most law enforcement agencies that carry pump shotguns carry. Level 6. The Competition Semi-Automatic. The Competition Semi-Automatic is a semi-automatic shotgun built to tolerances and specifications that are specifically unnecessary for hunting or casual defensive use, but that matter measurably in competitive shooting contexts where the difference between winning and finishing out of the money may be a fraction of a second per target across a 50-target sporting clays course. The Beretta A400 XL and the Browning Maxus II represent this level. Gas-operated semi-automatics with self-regulating gas systems, optimized cycling speed, reduced perceived recoil, and ergonomic refinements that accumulate into meaningful performance advantages over the standard semi-automatic at Level 4. The self-regulating gas system of the Beretta A400, which Beretta calls the blink system, cycles the action at a speed that Beretta documents as 36% faster than competing gas-operated semi-automatics. Practical competitive shooting terms, this faster cycling speed reduces the time between shots on doubles, 2 target presentations where both targets must be engaged in rapid succession, and reduces muzzle rise between shots by returning the action to battery before the shooter begins to compensate for recoil. The result is a competition advantage that is real but requires the shooting skill to exploit. A Level 6 shotgun in the hands of a Level 3 shooter produces Level 3 results. The price range at Level 6 reflects the European manufacturing heritage of the dominant platforms. The Beretta A400 XL retails between $1,500 and $2,000 depending on configuration. The Browning Maxus 2 runs between 1500 and 1800. Perazzi and Krieghoff competition over-unders, which some competitive shooters classify at this level rather than level 2 specifically for their fit and trigger refinement. Start above $5,000 and reach $20,000 or more for engraved custom configurations. The investment at level 6 is not arbitrary. It buys measurably better cycling consistency, ergonomic fit capability, and long-term reliability across high round counts that a level 4 semi-automatic at $600 cannot sustain over 10,000 rounds of competitive use. The competition semi-automatic also introduces the concept of custom fitting, adjustable comb height, adjustable length of pull, adjustable cast and drop, that allows the stock geometry to be precisely matched to the specific shooter's body dimensions and shooting posture. A shotgun that does not fit the shooter points incorrectly, requiring a conscious correction on every shot that a properly fitted shotgun achieves automatically. Custom fitting a competition shotgun to a specific shooter is the equivalent of having a suit tailored rather than buying off the rack. It does not change the material, but it changes how the material performs for the specific person wearing it. Level 7. The military-grade semi-automatic. The Benelli M4 is the firearm that defines Level 7, a semi-automatic shotgun developed in the 1990s for the United States Marine Corps as a joint service combat shotgun, and that has served with the American military and numerous NATO allies continuously since its adoption in 1999. The M4 uses Benelli's auto-regulating gas-operated ARGO system, which taps gas directly at the barrel rather than through a long-stroke piston, producing a cycling system that functions reliably through the widest range of shell pressures and environmental conditions of any semi-automatic shotgun in production. The ARGO system requires less maintenance than competing gas systems and produces a cycling reliability record that earned the M4 its military contract and has kept it in production and procurement continuously since. The Beretta 1301 Tactical represents the alternative at this level, the fastest cycling gas-operated semi-automatic currently available, with documented cycle times faster than any competing semi-automatic shotgun in independent testing, and the semi-automatic shotgun that has become the standard for professional 3-gun competition. The 1301's gas system and bolt carrier are optimized specifically for speed. The engineering priority that makes it the fastest available rather than the most durable available, which is why the Benelli M4 remains the military standard while the Beretta 1301 defines competition performance. The aftermarket support ecosystem for Level 7 shotguns is as developed as any firearm platform in the civilian market. Mesa Tactical, Nordic Components, and Aridus Industries produce magazine extensions, stock adapters, rail systems, and bolt releases specifically for the Benelli M4 and Beretta 1301. A fully configured competition or duty 1301 with extended magazine, Nordic side charging handle, and suppressor height sights may represent an additional $500 to $800 in accessories beyond the base firearm. The total investment at Level 7, firearm plus necessary accessories for a specific application, typically exceeds $2,500 and can approach $4,000 for a fully custom competition build. The shooter who reaches Level 7 has not simply bought a more expensive shotgun. They have committed to the specific application, competition, duty, or professional defensive use that makes the Level 7 platform's capabilities relevant to their actual requirements. Both firearms at Level 7 cost between $1,500 and $2,000 in standard configurations, with aftermarket accessories, magazine extensions, bolt releases, charging handles, sights, adding several $100s to a fully configured duty or competition setup. The gap in practical capability between a Level 7 shotgun and a Level 4 shotgun in the hands of an average shooter is smaller than the price difference suggests. But in the hands of a trained operator using the platform at its capability ceiling, the Level 7 shotgun's cycling speed, reliability under adverse conditions, and ergonomic optimization produce measurable performance advantages that justify the investment for the specific applications they are built for.